Good morning, everybody. I hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to the live stream cello lesson. Today we're gonna continue on with our Bach Suite No.1, and it's gonna be the minuets today. So let us quickly take a look at the music. All right. So even though the minuets are divided into 1 and 2, it's actually going to be part of the same piece. So you can see here at the very end, right? Minuet I da capo, meaning we're going to play Minuet 1 and then Minuet 2, and then we're gonna go back to Minuet 1. So that is what that really is talking about. All right, so without further ado, let us take a look at Minuet 1. All right. So let's just start with the first 4 measures here. Let's go very slowly. So we're in 3/4, right? So 3/4, and we're going to play it slowly. So 1 and 2 and 3 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and like that. So let's just play through the let's just play through the first 4 measures. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 2, 3 until there. Let's go until there. So pretty simple. The notes are very simple. Let's just put the fingering here. It's gonna be 1 and 2. So let's try that one more time, okay? All right, 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 3. All right, really good. So for this trill, basically what I'm doing is, first of all, I start on the C, right? To get that suspended sound. And then that grace notes, the A, B grace note. So I play those in time. So I play those on the end of the second beat. So it'll be like 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and, right? 1 and 2, 3. So remember to count that. That's gonna help you a lot in terms of making that trill work. Okay? All right. Let's just try that one more time. Just that first 4 measures. The yellow line. All right. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 1 and 2 and 3 like that. All right, let's keep on going. The second phrase, it's gonna be the counter phrase of that. So let's just take a look at this line first, right? So measure 5 and 6. So we have A, F sharp, C natural, I don't know why I do that. Did I do that? Let me check. You can do that. I think it's easier if you just do open string, to be honest. So let's just do open string, 0, 4. Like that. So it'll be 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. You know what? I believe I actually do that in order to avoid the string crossing here. So let's actually keep this fingering. So 2, 1, shift. That's gonna be important, right? Just remember, if you want to do that, that's fine. If you don't want to do that, that's okay too. The reason why I do the second position shift is in order to not do the string crossing. So it doesn't... But if you want to use the open string, that's perfectly fine. But I think I prefer to use the second position because you're keeping the melody on the same string, right? So, and then you're keeping that 2 note on the same string. So you're basically changing the string with the bow change. So that's another reason why I would shift there. So that's the first 2 bars of the light blue phrase. So if we take a look at here, we're gonna stay in. So we do shift back to first position, and then we shift back to second position, right? Second position, shift back to first position, and up and up. So measure 7 is a little bit tricky. So remember, you're in second position, and then stay there, and then shift back to first position there. So, right? So that 1, 1. 1, 1, 3. So that's gonna be the light blue phrase. Sounds fairly simple, right? So let's play just the light blue phrase by itself. Going the same speed, right? 1 slowly, 1 and 2 and 3, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. So that's gonna be the light blue phrase. Let's play it one more time. So I'll talk about this in a bit. So light blue phrase, once again, 2 and 3 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and I think I mentioned this before in the other videos of Bach. But rhythm, when you're learning Bach in the very beginning, be very precise with the rhythm. that's gonna help you a lot in terms of understanding how to phrase things. And on top of that, also be aware of the chord changes or the harmonic movement in each of the dance. Well, the harmonic movements are probably going to be the same, right, throughout the whole suite. But be aware of how each dance is fitting those harmonic changes within itself, right? So let's play the light blue phrase one more time, and we're gonna take the repeat. See how there's a repeat here? We have a repeat, right? So we're gonna take that repeat after playing the light blue phrase, because like it's a second time, right? So starting from light blue phrase, we're gonna play that through and then take the repeat and play the yellow and then light blue. All right, light blue, 1 and 2 and 3 and 3 and 3, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and repeat and 1 and 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3 and there we go. So that's gonna be our first half. I'm just gonna make a note here. It is perfectly fine to do open string there. So you can totally do the right. You don't have to shift into the second position. That's just a suggestion. So you can do. The only thing you have to be careful about when you're doing the open string is having that string crossing be very smooth, right? Alrighty, so that's gonna be our first half. Let's quickly write out our chords as usual. So the first 2 beat. I would say it does that. So A and D would spell out D, right? D7. It's part of D7. It's implying the D7. It's like tonic, dominant, tonic. And then here. So here, we're staying in G, and then we talked about this before. Subdominant is usually what we put in before the dominant to make the phrase a little bit longer, right? So subdominant is going to be our 4th chord. So if we start from G, G, 1, 2, 3, 4, C. So our C major is going to be the chord change here. And then here is dominant again. Go to G, ending on D. So bum 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 ba da ba da 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 da. Right? I think this one rather goes here. Alright, so that would be the chord progression for the yellow. Let's take a look at blue. Blue would be dominant. So. So this is all the way, it's gonna be D7 all the way through. Alright, D7, D7. No. Yeah, this whole entire phrase is gonna be D. Right? So basically it's just moving back and forth from G, D, G, D, G, D. Fairly simple. That's quite common in classical music, right? In Western classical music, we have a lot of tonic, dominant, tonic, dominant. Any ending of like pieces, you're most likely gonna hear, right? Something like that, right? So that dominant tonic relationship is very common, and you're gonna be very familiar with it if you're playing it a lot. So that's gonna be our first half. Now let's take a look at the second half. And second half is gonna be a little bit longer because it has more measures. But we're gonna play it like this. Let's do green. And for now, let's just play till here. So starting from the green phrase, it's gonna be, let's play it slowly, note by note. So open D, we're in second position right now. So open D, F sharp, A. You can tune it with the open A, right? You can tune that whole with the open A string. And then for that G, A, B, we're gonna shift down to third position and extension, right? Extension, maintain it, shift down to first position, like that. So let's just try the first two measures of the green phrase once more. So it's second position F sharp, A, and then third position extension, shift to first position, open F sharp, and then the next two bars, we're gonna shift half step down, right? In order to play this B natural with our second finger, right? Our third finger's here, B natural is gonna be here, but instead of playing with our third finger, we're just gonna shift down to our second finger. The reason why is for that G sharp, right? So we're actually preparing our hand position for that G sharp. So how you can tune those sets of notes is you first play the B and the D, open D together. And once you have that B really nice and tight, you can try not to move the second finger. And you're gonna try and tune that G sharp with that B, right? So that's gonna be the trick to tuning those notes. So first, let's play it separate without the bowing for now, starting from the B, D, G sharp, right? So B, D, G sharp, open A, and then A on the G string, first finger. So that's gonna be a little bit difficult, that right, that jump, big old jump. So remember last week how in the saraban we talked about how there are certain notes that's representing the melody and certain notes that's representing like the bass lines and things like that, right? So here is one of those instances. So that B is going to resolve to that A. That's why basically you're playing the bass line by yourself, right? You're playing various voices. Imagine that you're playing multiple parts, but by yourself. That's essentially how the suites are. And that's why it's really difficult to kind of decipher what it is and phrase it accordingly. So once again, starting from B, just note by note, right? B, D, G sharp, A, jump. So let's just do that until there. Now let's try and add the bowing, right? So we have 3 slur, and then separate, and then that A is single, and then 3 up, like that. So that jump is gonna cause a little bit of trouble in terms of timing. That's natural because it's a big jump, right? But as we talked about it before, if you maintain the phrasing, rhythmical phrasing, so that if you play that with, if you keep in mind that phrasing is a rebound from that first beat, though, it's still gonna make sense if you take time. If you take time on that first beat, right? So, just experiment with it, play with it, sing, record yourself. Now, if you have a cell phone, you can record yourself, right? And also, if you're having trouble keeping the notes clean, you can also play E when you're playing this A. Because that's part of the chord, right? So it's okay if you if you bar that chord. Even if you make a sound, it's gonna be part of the harmony, so that's gonna be fine. That's my interpretation. That's a little cheat that I do to make it sound and make it be more easier on myself, right? All right, so let's just play those first 4 lines of the green phrase. All right, so 1, and we're gonna do it slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. Alright, get it? Alright, let's try it one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. Alright, very good. Let's keep on going. You know what? Let's make it a bit more simple. So now let's try the purple phrase. So we end on first position, right? So here we're gonna extend back that D sharp. We're gonna extend back. F sharp is gonna be there. Open A, C natural. Right? So that's gonna be the hard part. So open A, and then here. So if we play those notes separately, it's we're barring it. When you're playing that open G string, we're going to shift down to the fourth position. And here, we shift to second position. Third position. First position. And then stay. Like that. So this one's, the purple phrase, fairly straightforward. Let's just play it slowly. Try and do the bowing. So 1 and 2 and 3, 13. 2. Connect. Shift. Shift. And stay. Like that. The hard part about this is going to be the string crossing. So especially that. That as you get, don't try not to drop your elbow too much. Instead, try and feel the force with your wrist, right? See how I'm just kind of dropping my fingers like that? Like I'm extending it. And make sure that B and E is really solid. Like that. All right. So basically, the green phrase and the purple phrase is together, right? So let's just play the purple phrase once more, a little bit faster in tempo, right? So 1 and purple phrase and and 2. All right, so that's gonna be the purple phrase. Now let's try the green and the purple phrase, right? That's gonna be the first half of the first phrase of the second half of the Minuet I. Wow, that was complicated. All right, so let's try from green to purple. 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2. So play it slowly. If that's too fast, play it even slower, right? Just try and count correctly and play the correct notes and in tune. I know that's a lot to ask, but do it one thing at a time. Focus on one thing at a time. So one time through, focus on the rhythm, right? And then the next time you repeat it, focus on tuning, right? So whenever, or even when you're practicing on a daily basis, try not to do the same thing over and over again. Even if you're practicing the same passages, focus on different aspects of it, right? That's gonna help you get better a lot quicker. So that's my suggestion. Let's try the green and purple phrase once more. And let's play it a little bit slower. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. So I think that's pretty clear on the green and purple, the fingering and all that timing. So let's move on. So this is gonna be our kind of our last phrase, right? So we end on the 3. And then here, instead of playing in the first position, right? What we're going to do is we're going to shift down to 3rd position and play E here. So how you can find that is first finger on C. You can tune it with your open C. Extension, and then right there, right? So try and keep your wrist flat when you're playing the extension down here. Try not to do that, or try not to do that. Try and keep it flat or slightly curved, right? Remember to raise your elbow slightly to reach better to your the lower strings, the G string and the C string, right? Try not to have a crook in your wrist though. Try to keep it more flat, right? But don't go the other way either. Don't do that either, right? All right, so we play that E, D, C, and then next bar, that B, D, G, right? So first finger on G string and then D, that 4th finger, D. You can tune it with the open D string. And then shift, open string. And then so this phrase is 1. So this is going to be a sequence. So just pay attention to this pattern, right? the first part. Let's try it one more time slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and right. And then the next one is basically the same pattern, but we move a step above, right? So instead of starting from B, we're now gonna go a whole step up, and we're gonna go from C sharp, right? So C sharp, so C sharp, E, A. You can tune that A with A, and shift back to first position here. Till there. So once more, the measure 19. So we're gonna shift from second position to third, 3.5 position, I guess. So our second finger is A, first finger C sharp, and then there your fourth finger is gonna be E. You can also tune that E with your A. Once you have that A, that's gonna be a perfect fourth, right? E. So if you're out of tune, it's gonna be very noticeable. It's what we call perfect intervals. We have perfect. The perfect intervals will be the fourth and the fifth, and those are very hard to tune, and they need to be very precisely in tune. So keep that in mind, and then shift back. Right, so it's the same pattern, right? So you start that's first one, second one. So you can also kind of hear how the energy ramps up, right? So let's try now. Let's add that the pickup. So we shift. So find the reference for that E. Find that open C with the first finger and then extension. Alright, so it goes like this. So blue phrase, 1 and I'll count one measure empty and then we'll start with the measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Alright, did you get that? Let's try it one more time. Let's do it without the pickup, just straight from the sequence, right? Let's do it from here. All right, so slowly once again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 3 and 1 and 2. Shift. So if you get those two phrases down and have it connected, you're gonna be okay. So now let's do it slightly faster, right? So 1 and 2 and 3 and and that's the blue phrase. Now let's take a look at the final 4 bars. And we're gonna make it orange. So the very last phrase is fairly simple. We start from, let's do it all separate, bow all separately. We're gonna look at it note by note, okay? So first note on the orange phrase is open D, F sharp, A, C, B, and then next measure is E, G, B, and then here we're gonna shift to second finger on that D here for that extension. Shift, C, right? One more time. So from the beginning of orange, and next measure, shift, and then next measure, D, F sharp, so, and then here, G, B, I shift back to first position. So I can play that last with open and 4. Like that. So now if we add the bowing, it'll be 3 hook and then separate, right? Separate, and then separate, and then separate, like that. If we do it in tempo, let's do it slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and just like that. All right. The orange phrase is fairly straightforward. I don't think I have to explain much. So, but now let's try the blue and orange phrases together. That's gonna be the challenging part. All right, so we're gonna include the pickup as well, okay? So, starting from the blue phrase, the pickup, let's start from that measure, that E. So 1 and 2 and 3, E and 2. Measure 19. Orange. Repeat. All right, let's try that one more time, slightly faster. So same thing, from measure 18, 19, 17. So end of purple phrase. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2. And 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2. 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, so that's gonna be the blue and orange phrase together, right? So that's gonna be the second phrase of the second half. What I would do is practice the blue and purple together, and then the green and green and purple, and then blue and orange together. And then what you have to do is just combine it all together, right? So let's try the second half all the way through. Let's play it slowly. And we're just gonna play it one time. We're not gonna do the repeat, okay? So the second half complete. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3, 1 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 1. So that's the second half. Sorry, I was out of tune in a couple of spots, but so that's if you're playing it slowly, right? So once you have all the fingerings and all the notes down, and you can play it without mistake slowly, that's when I would start playing it faster and faster. One tip about playing faster is when we're playing slow, we tend to use more bow, right? Because we're trying to hold the notes out. So when we're playing faster, try to use less bow, less and less bow. So that's gonna be my tip. Let's play through the first minuet with the repeats. Excuse me, let's just play the first repeat and that'll be it. And then I'm going to take a quick break, okay? Alright, so Minuet I, complete from top to bottom, only the first repeat. Alright, I'm gonna play slightly under tempo. So 1 and 2 and 3. Alright, so that's going to be Minuet I. Let me quickly write out the chords. minor. That is a D sharp diminished 7 to E minor. Back to D sharp. To E minor. Then to B minor. Which resolves to so that's actually not a B minor. It's a dominant 7, G dominant 7, and then it resolves to C. And then here, A7 to D, D7, that will be the chord. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Yeah. So those are gonna be the chord changes. And hopefully this this explanation for Minuet I helped. Let's just play it one more time just for fun of it, right? And then I'll take a break, okay? And then we'll take a look at Minuet II afterwards. So, one more time, Minuet I. I'm gonna play it at the speed that I usually play. Same thing, first repeat and second repeat. 1, 1 and 2 and 3. go into Minuet II. Okay, so before going into Minuet II, I'm going to take a quick break. So thanks for tuning in. Be right back. So stick around and we'll continue with the second minuet. Okay? Alright, be right back. Alrighty, folks. Let's move on to Minuet number 2 now. So, Minuet number 2 is kind of like, I would say it's like a minor variation of the Minuet number 1, and you'll quickly see why. So, the reason why I say it's a minor is because we have the B flat now, right? Instead of the G sharp, or the F sharp, right, which makes the G major sound, we have the B flat now. So B flat would be B flat is going to have that G minor sound to it. So in music theory, when we have the same root key but it's changing from major to minor, we call those parallel minor, parallel major, right? So the parallel minor of G major would be G minor. Very simple as that. So we're going to be in the parallel minor, the G minor, here. So remember that we have B flat and we have an E flat here. So let's just take a look at this first two measures. So we're gonna be playing in third position mostly. So it's, you can find the third position with the open G string, first finger on D, that G, and it's 1, 3. B flat is that fourth finger. So let's just play the notes without the bowing. So all the notes separately. So starting from B flat, A, third finger, back to B flat, and then cross over to G string. We're going to play third finger, that's gonna be our D, and then E flat's right there, and then cross the string once more to the C string. Third finger on the C string is going to be that open G, and then first finger is F natural, and then instead of going all the way to open A, we're just gonna go to the third finger on the D string, and it's gonna be double up bow. Right? So if we try that, let's try that one more time slowly. So B flat, third position, cross the string, F, A, third finger, open D. And while you're doing that, you're gonna shift back. So that's gonna be the fingering. And then now with the bowing, it's gonna be like this. So B, A, B, that's gonna be together. And then D, E flat together. And then for that last G, separate. Instead of slurring the like that, we're gonna do so kind of lift up a little bit for that E flat. Not necessarily a staccato, but make sure you kind of relax to give enough space to that for that G. So that's gonna be how we play that phrase. So just practice that, 2 measures. And it's very important that you try and maintain your wrist very flat, and move your elbow up and down to reach for the lower strings, right? Lift your elbow, lift your elbow, right? That's gonna help you a lot. Instead of trying to reach over with your hand, only your hand, try to just, if you move your elbow up, that's gonna automatically move your hand towards the lower strings. That's gonna be very important. All right, so the first two bars is pretty straightforward. Let's look at the next two bars. Right, this is a B flat. So next phrase is going to be first position. Let's play it separately. G, F sharp, G, and then B flat, C, and then E natural. Right, so E natural. Remember, this one's a natural. So once more. B flat, E natural, and then shift to second position, and then third position. If you want to extend here, instead of shifting, that's fine too. I think I just shift because it just prepares you for the phrase. So pretty straightforward. Lift left elbow to reach lower strings. That's gonna be the main key here. And the bowing here is the same. 3 slurred, and then 2 slurred, up bow, and then last one up, right? Once again, it's almost like a staccato here. So if we take a look, let's just play the first 4 bars slowly, just to get the idea of how that phrase goes, right? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 2 and 3 and like that. Let's try out one more time. 1 and 2 and 3. And 2 and 3 and. And then the next 4 bars is pretty much the same as the first 4 bars. If we take a look, it's the same thing, right? It's the same as the first 2 measures, and then here, instead of doing that, we do B, So just be aware of that. And here, although it's a jump, remember that you can have A, so you bar. It's okay if you have some noises crossing the. It's good. It's inevitable, right? Because you're jumping. But sometimes it's nice to just have that harmony as the noise. Because if you have other notes involved, it's gonna just kind of clash with the harmony, right? So just keep that first finger down. Like that. So that's gonna be the only different thing here. As far as bowing and things like that. So, if we take a look at just the yellow phrase of Minuet II, it goes like this. I'm gonna play it slightly under tempo. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and Minuet II and. So that's gonna be the yellow phrase, and obviously it has a repeat, right? So, first get the notes down, get the fingerings down, and then add the bowings to it, right? And then just try and play the first half until the first repeat. Play a couple of times. It's to build stamina, right? So if you can if you can play that phrase without any sort of errors, or you're not struggling at a slower tempo, then try to do it with the repeat, right? Do it multiple times. Do it 2 times, do it 3 times. That way it's just really in your hands, that phrase. All right. Let me play that first half really quickly with the repeat, and in a little bit faster, almost to. So 1 and 2 and 3, 1, 2. So that's gonna be our yellow phrase, right? Now let's go on to our next phrase. Ooh. So our next phrase is going to be these. Here we're going to be using a lot of extension. First position, right? So it's a little bit uncomfortable, but it's the only way that we can play this suite. So here, let's do it without the bowing, just all separately. We start on open D. First finger on that F sharp, A. So we stay there and then shift half step. Shift half step to the C natural. So here 1, 4, and then shift down for that B. So that way you're in position for that extension. That's gonna be a little bit difficult because it's all extension. I really don't like that position. So it's, and then so D, F sharp, A, shift to the A string, half step up, C natural, E flat, 4, C natural, B flat. So that's gonna be the note. So try to have the, once you have the fingering down, get the rhythm right. And then add the slurs, right? Add the bowing to it. Right? So that's gonna be our first phrase, or first 2 bars. And then the next one is gonna be, so we started from D, and then we go whole step down. Same thing, let's try playing without the bowing. So C, E natural, G, and then B flat, right? So that's gonna be still B flat, right? Extension. Extension. And then here I shift down to second position. And then first position extension. Like that. Right, so slowly. This measure is quite difficult, I would say. That phrase. Because you're just always doing the extension, so just be aware of that. The only way you can get good at extension is just doing it often. Try not to squeeze your thumb. In fact, I tend to float my thumb when I'm doing the extension. Sometimes you need, the kink in the wrist sometimes happens. It's inevitable sometimes, right? So that to me is a bit difficult because of that second finger. So if just practice that. And then, you know, maybe like 30 seconds, 1 minute a day. If it starts to hurt, just stop practicing this piece, or stop practicing anything that involves extensions, right? You don't want to hurt yourself. All right, so this part. So that's the fingering. Let's now add the bowing, right? So 3 slur, and then separate, 2 slurred, and then separate, and then 2 slurred. So the second measure is a bit tricky. This. So, once you have those two down, let's just combine the light blue phrase together. So, slowly, 1 and 2 and 3. Like that. Alright, so that's the first half of the big phrase that I'm going to mark out. So next thing will be these. So let's first take a look at this. We're still in the extended position, right? So it's D, F natural, and then that B flat. Let's all play it separately. That's 1, and then the next sequence, instead of playing D, F natural, we're gonna play E flat, G. Right, so that's the pattern there. So the pattern, the B A B B A B, that remains the same throughout, right? Right, so that's like the pattern that it does. So what I consider is no 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 no. That's one phrase, right? Da 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 dum. Ba da 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 dum. That's the second phrase. So, and instead of treating that last D as part of the phrase, I treat it as the pickup into the next phrase. Right? So that makes it a little bit more interesting, phrasing wise. So keep that in mind. Same thing here. Pick up. And then for that B flat, last B flat here, if we take a look, here's fairly simple, straightforward. Extension. B flat with first finger, right? So, and that's gonna prepare us for the next part. So, practice the first two measures of the purple, right? So the light blue and the purple phrase is going to be one whole phrase. So, but practice it separately, right? Practice the light blue phrase separately until you're comfortable with it, and then the purple phrase until you're comfortable with it, and then combine the two together, right? So let's try that now. Let's do the light blue and purple together. slightly under tempo. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, light blue and. So that's gonna be the first phrase of the second half. Now let's continue on. And it's gonna be the same idea. So let's take a look at the next 4 measures. So we played that B natural with the second finger. And once again, let's just play everything separate bow. First finger on the F, F sharp, A flat, shift half step down, extension, and then shift to C natural first finger. Like that. Right? So practice the notes separately first. Right? And then let's add the bowing now. So bowing, we always have that 3 slurred and then 3 separate. Right? And then let's take a look at the next 2 bars. So last measure of the third line, so A, C, E flat, G, those are all extensions, right? And then practice it, get used to that extension, try not to squeeze your thumb. Now let's add that bowing, the slurs. So that's gonna be hard. The hard part is trying to reach that E flat while still playing that C. Right? So, once again, try, instead of reaching, especially in your extended position, try to use your elbow to reach for the lower strings. That's going to be very helpful. So let's try the blue phrase now slowly with the bowing. 1 and 2 and 3 and next. Like that. So that's the blue phrase. So blue phrase is just a sequence, right? And then the next one. Right? So that's gonna be the related section, and of course practice it separately like that, and then add it. Be more fluent. Right? And then let's move on to our last phrase. Last phrase is very straightforward. So we shift down here, F sharp. That way our A is with our fourth finger, right? So second finger G, you can tune with the open G. So it's F sharp, A, C, we're gonna shift half step, right, up as we shift to the next string. So shift half step, right, and then so practice them all separately. This is a B flat. So extension. This is extended. Shift. Shift. Stand position. Shift half step. So that's how those are the notes, right? So if you do them with the bowing, it's so that's the sequence. The sequence. Alright, let me quickly write down the chords and then we'll move on. So that'd be D7. Goes to C7. F major. To F7, I guess, which will go to B flat. So B flat. To E flat. which goes to this is B diminished 7 to C minor, which then goes into a half diminished to B flat, F sharp diminished 7th to G minor, C minor, D7, G. Good old 2-5-1. Minor, G minor, sorry. Alright, so those are going to be our chords for I didn't write chords for the first half. Another G minor to G minor to D minor, G minor to D7, alright, that should be good. Alright, so let's just play the blue and orange phrase together, right? So blue and orange phrase together is the last phrase of the Minuet. Minuet II, excuse me. So blue phrase and orange phrase slightly under tempo. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. So that's going to be our blue and orange phrase, right? So that's our second half. Let's just play the second half all the way through, right? I'm going to play it first time slightly under tempo and counting out loud. And then the second time through, I'll just try and play it kind of normal tempo. All right, so this is the second half all the way through from the repeat sign. 1 and 2 and 3. second half. Yeah, so just like the first minuet, practice it in chunks. Practice the yellow phrase, and then practice the light blue and purple phrase, and then practice the blue and orange phrase, right? Those are gonna be the three big phrases in the minuet. Let me try and let's play the second minuet all the way through. And then I'll explain how to play both of them together. Alright, so this is gonna be Minuet II, still slightly under tempo. I'm gonna play just the first repeat. Alright. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2. I think I do both repeats actually, but for now, I'm not gonna do the repeat. So that's how you will practice the second minuet. And if you notice at the bottom, as I mentioned in the beginning of the class, we have this guy, right? We have Minuet I da capo, meaning we're gonna go after we play Minuet II. So how the Minuet I and II works. Oh, hold up. How Minuet I and II works is you're gonna play Minuet I through, and then you're gonna play Minuet II immediately after. And then after that, you're gonna go back to Minuet I and play just Minuet I without any of the repeats. So that's gonna be how you play the piece. It ends up being quite long. That's why I don't do the second repeats. So now that you have the first minuet and second minuet down, let's try. I'm gonna play both of them how it should be. And I think that will be it for today. Oh, that's what. Oh boy, it deleted all the chords. Oh well, it's okay. It's on the screen anyways. Alright, so let's play through both the minuets now. And just a quick note, even though I'm sure you've noticed the two minuets have two different feelings. One's a little bit more bouncier and the other one's a little bit more melancholy, right? A little bit sad, not sad, but a little bit more down. So try to bring that out a little bit. Think about it while you're playing, and I think it'll naturally come out. So as I said before, we're going to play through Minuet. And then Minuet I, and then Minuet II, and then back to Minuet I, and that'll be it. Alright. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. Alright, so that's how you play Minuet I and II of Bach. I hope this cello lesson helped. And we only have one more movement of the cello suite now. So next week we are going to be taking a look at jig. So stay tuned. If you enjoyed this tutorial cello lesson, give it a like. And if you want to keep on learning other pieces, I'm going to be looking at other pieces. And if you have a specific piece in mind, you can always request it. Just drop a comment. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. And happy practicing, and I'll see you next week. Bye.